Greetings and welcome to Pickled Watermelon Rinds, a guilty pleasure podcast featuring Auntie Joan and Auntie providing our zesty and marginally mature take on current events, pop culture, and trends. Now we invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hello, Auntie Joan.
Hi, Auntie.
How are you?
I'm fine and dandy. How about your own self?
Oh, just fine. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome. What up, sister? What's going on with you?
Goodness. Over the past week, it's an impromptu gambling session at a local casino with my friend Crystal. We went and she taught me roulette.
Oh, dear.
Oh, no. Roulette is cool. Who knew? We played a little 3-card poker at first. It was very last second. We went to the casino to that ramen place that I've told you about. And since it's not too far from where I live, it's always a nice place to take folks. So we had planned on going there. And then off the cuff, I just said, do you feel like gambling? And she's like, sure. And I'm like, really? No one ever does. Not that I'm a big gambler. I'm not. I only go with people, but nobody ever wants to go. So I don't ever go. And we first sat down at 3-card poker and proceeded to lose the money that we had in our pockets. And then after a quick trip to the ATM, we decided Crystal really wanted to play her roulette and teach me the game. And what a fun game.
Yeah.
Silly fun. And it's just you and the wheel. So it doesn't matter how many people are at that table with you. It was just me and Crystal for a good chunk of it. And we walked away with a $600 winning.
What?
Yes, we did. So
when I've seen those people playing that, like on the TV and stuff, it looks like it's almost impossible to win anything. But
I hit actual numbers 4 times.
Oh my gosh.
Not in a row or anything like that. This is over time. I think we were there at the roulette table, probably an hour and a half.
That's not bad.
And we just had silly fun. And I was laughing so hard because I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. And Crystal kept teaching me things, and you could play between 4 different numbers. You get a quarter of whatever the winnings are. You could play halfway between 2 numbers. You get half of what you would win if either of those numbers came up. You could play evens, odds, half the table, the other half of the table. These section of numbers, this section of numbers. There's so many various that I had no idea about, and it was just good, silly fun. So
it sounds like it was rewarding too.
It was. I don't know if it would have been as fun if we didn't win anything. But,
no, I don't think it would.
Considering we won, it was quite fun. And then I started doing these wall sits. I heard about them.
What?
No. I heard about it on, what's the show called? It's called Joke with Papa and Fortune. Oh, What a Joke. What a Joke with Papa and Fortune on Sirius XM. And Tom Papa was talking about it, how he had started doing wall sits, and then mentioned that it's supposed to reduce high blood pressure. And I was like, what?
No. I've never heard that before.
Me either. So I did a little research on the Google machine, and turns out there's an article from the Washington Post that supposedly it does. So I said, I'll give that a shot. Wow. It's you think, you're just sitting against a wall. How hard could that be? Well, let me tell you. My legs are pretty strong, and I'm able to be in the seated position for about, the 2 minutes that they recommend. But they also recommend a rest for 2 minutes, then 2 minutes more sitting, rest for 2 minutes, and so on until you do it 4 times.
Smokes.
I'm still in the infancy of this little endeavor of mine and was proud enough that I could sit against the wall for 2 minutes. But that's as far as I've gotten so far. I figure I'm going to increase every week and see if I can get it up to the 4 times interval that they recommend, and see what it does for my blood pressure. That seems to be the thing that's eluding me the most health-wise at this point right now. It's I don't think it's not high dosage, but it's not a super low dose either, a blood pressure medication. I've lost weight and I've been plant-based dieting on a plant-based diet for over 7 years now and still with the blood pressure. So if this works, well then yay, I'll add it to the regiment.
Now, see, I could sit quite easily by a wall, up to a wall.
Nice.
2 minutes on, 2 minutes off, 2 minutes on. But I'd need a chair to do it. That's the only thing I would have.
Oh, I see. I think
Yeah.
that defeats the purpose.
I see.
I think
see.
so. And there's some tennis player that Tom Papa mentioned too that, or maybe one of his, the producer on the show had mentioned, but some that does wall sits before every match.
Wow.
And apparently this guy, whoever he was, and I didn't catch his name, has really, really thick legs. I mean, a lot of that's from tennis itself, but very thick and muscular legs. And apparently that's what his before match regimen is.
I would think that would kind of weaken him a little bit if you're going out before a match.
Unless you're so, trained in that. Like I was spent after doing it for 2 minutes. I was like, I don't know how you can do this 3 more times. But like I said, we'll see if I can get there. I'll keep everybody updated, see if I'm doing it or if I get
Yeah,
up.
do, please.
You never know. But yes, according to the Washington Post, the quote is, on average, a regular isometric routine of wall sits lowered systolic blood pressure, the top number by 10 mmHg, whatever that is, and diastolic pressure by 5 mmHg, according to the research. Who knew?
Yeah.
So,
well,
see how we
whatever
go.
It takes, huh?
We'll see how we go.
Yeah.
And you, Auntie Joan, what's new and exciting in your world?
Well, I had to say goodbye to Theo and Ophelia, the grand dogs that were here for a week.
And saying goodbye, you mean they went home, not that they were
went
no
home.
longer with us.
They went home, yes.
Gotcha.
Got to see the grand girls. That was fun.
Nice.
And then follow up with my cardiologist on my cardio version that I had done a couple weeks ago.
Right. How did that go?
That went well. I'm still in normal rhythm.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I thought maybe I had gone back into AFib shortly afterwards, but I think it was just a fluke. So,
Oh, good.
yeah.
That's fantastic. And your cardiologist is pleased?
He's pleased with that. The rest, yeah, not so good. But anyway, and then my meet and greet, I did a meet and greet with my new primary care because my former primary care moved. And I was quite impressed with him. I mean, he really looked at my history and all that. And, he brought up topics. And so he was well prepared. So that impressed me. And I liked him. He's easy to talk to. So
Young guy, older guy?
I would say 40-ish, in his 40s, late 40s maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. So he should be around a while. But then my former primary care, she wasn't much. She was about the same age. It's just they wanted to change the scenery. So there you go.
Gotcha. So you found the initial meet and greet to be worth your time?
Oh, yeah. I
That's
did.
good. Because of my meet and greet with the doctor that I'm no longer with. I thought I was going in for a physical. I just called and said, and I got there and it was just, all we did was talk and I got to schedule a physical thereafter. And I'm like, this was easily something we could have talked about before the physical. We didn't have to schedule, especially since I live nowhere near these places. So,
that's
an hour drive down to just say, hi, how you doing? And get general background stuff that they're going to ask you again the first appointment anyway, because they don't keep track of anything properly. I don't even know what to say. But it sounds like your guy's way more on the ball than this particular person was.
I felt like he was, yeah.
That's good, because I made it clear when I changed doctors, when I met her for the first time, like, I'm not only meeting you, I'm getting a physical. There is no two-step process here. We're doing it all in an appointment.
I wasn't expecting a physical. I usually do that in the summer, my yearly Medicare physical thing that they do. But he did, I did tell him, because I saw him before the cardiologist, And I told him, well, I was concerned that maybe I was back in AFib. And he listened to my heart and he said, well, you sound like you're in normal rhythm. Let's try this. And they got out, one of those pulse ox things. And he said, see that the one he had like a little bar that went, a wavy bar that went across to indicate your heart rate. And he said, yeah, for it to be like that steady, we can pretty much tell you're in normal sinus rhythm. So
that's fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely.
Hope it
news.
lasts. Hope
yes.
it lasts.
Did he say when you needed to come back and visit him?
This summer, I think.
Okay. So months before you have to check again. Gotcha. Okay. Very cool.
So I think I'm going to get one of those little handheld sensor things that you can put your thumbs on and it'll tell you if you're an AFib or not. And I know that the Apple Watches will do that. They can tell you if you're an AFib and
yes, but then you're using fruit products.
No.
Well, if you're going to get an Apple Watch, that's fruit products.
That's okay. I
don't like that rotten fruit.
I know. But one of the medical staff that is at that office where my primary care is, she said that when she wears her Apple Watch, if she has wine, she'll go into AFib.
Well, stop drinking wine, Auntie Joan.
No, well, that's not what my former PCP said. She said, stop wearing the watch. But I guess that's common.
Huh.
People will go.
I must be an AFib all the time.
Because I did do the Google machine and look that up. And yeah, there's been quite a few people who have commented that they'll go into AFib on their Apple Watch when they're drinking wine.
Do they talk about whether they've confirmed this phenomenon with their doctors and that it really truly is AFib, or is it just something in your heart rate, changing due to the wine, whatever it may be? That's really not. So you're really not an AFib, I guess, is what I'm asking.
No, they have not confirmed that.
Okay. I was just curious if it's just something in the wine itself, maybe tannins or something that are screwing around with. I don't know. I'm making stuff. That's all I know.
I know.
That's all I know.
Just looking at, yeah.
But I was just curious. Very, very cool, Auntie Joan. Very happy for you.
So that was my excitements for the week.
That is excitement. That's good news. All right. Continuing our little series of, we talked a couple of times about how we are alike, and we started last week on ways that we differ. And another way that we differ is cluttered versus organized. And I want to kind of talk about what kind of psychological things are associated with both of the way that we are. Do you want to kick it off, or would you like me to?
Well, I can start. I was diagnosed as ADD, attention deficit disorder. And that, I think, is my main problem. Why I'm the cluttered person. Stuff will accumulate and after I don't even see it. It's just part of the background, part of the whatever.
Interesting. And how is that related to ADHD?
Oh, it's not ADHD. I'm hardly
or just ADD.
Hyperactive ADD. Yeah.
ADD.
Well, that's part of, you get distracted. You don't, it's just all part of the symptoms. No,
I was just curious because, I could see having lots of little tasks started and not finished kind of thing as an ADD. You start something shiny goes by. I'm totally just making a joke, folks. Don't come send me hate mail. Something, because I do it. I mean, I don't have ADD. I don't think. Maybe I do. I don't know, or a portion of it.
No, I don't think so.
But I'll start something and all of a sudden I'll be like, oh, and a thought will enter my head and I'll abandon whatever I'm doing. Like I told you that time I almost burned down the house because I had something on the stove. I went outside for a minute. I thought it was a minute. Or I had noticed that the timer was going to be going off in about 10 minutes. And I said, oh, I'll just run outside for a minute, and whatever I was doing, I don't remember what it was. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, I meant to shovel some snow off of the front walk. And I just went off and did that and came back in, and I could smell, it was something in one of those bamboo steamer baskets. And I could smell that it was thankfully not on fire. But all the water had boiled out, and likely and the whole bottom of the bamboo steamer got completely charred, and a fire was likely imminent. But thankfully I came back in time, and honestly, and I was so mad at myself. I'm like, you looked at the timer. You knew you had 10 minutes left. Why did you not just stay in the house for 10 more minutes and then do whatever you just did outside? But instead and while I was outside, never even thought about anything being on the stove. Never even entered my head, not once. I didn't run in because I thought, like, I finally remembered. I just came back inside and I'm like, oh no. Yikes.
So that's kind of like how ADD people are all the time. Like,
Gotcha.
you go into the kitchen to get a drink of water, but while you're there, you see something else and you pick it up, and that should go in the drawer, and then something else you see, and before you know it, you forget what you were in there for, and I just leave and go do something else.
Okay. And for me, like when I go to I don't have garbage pickup at my house. It's available. I don't do it because of all the wild animals, and I'd rather not attract them, especially in the summer with the bears. So, I've been doing this for many, many years. I will bring my garbage and recycling and cardboard boxes and composting to a transfer station. And, it's usually not very much. About once a month I would go. And it's way more cost effective, by the way.
I'm
but
sure.
anyway, I digress on that. But when I leave the transfer station, the amount of relief that I feel, I don't even know how to describe it. I'm so happy. I'm usually smiling from ear to ear, and I'm like, it's gone. And then I come home because, I keep a lot of this in my garage, and I come home and the boxes I had broken down or weren't yet broken down are all gone. And that whole area is just clean. And I'm just like, I feel like I can breathe again. That's the best way I can describe it. It just feels like, so I don't know if maybe I have a little claustrophobia associated with me that I'm not really truly aware of, or what the deal is, but that sense of everything that needed to go is now gone. Everything looks like where everything needs to be. And I'm not a neat freak. I am not somebody who dusts every day and vacuums 10 times a day or anything like that. 10 times a month, you'd be lucky for me. And things like that. I like things picked up.
Yeah.
But as far as like deep cleaning, sparkling and shining and all that, that's not me. But the clutter, it really boils down to clutter for me, I think. I definitely grew up in a household where clutter was an everyday thing. My parents basically used the kitchen table as their office, and there were just piles of papers on the kitchen table all the time, and sometimes on the counters, and they didn't necessarily put things away all the time. And
sounds like my kind of people.
So I don't know, because I know my brother, I have talked to him about it as well, and we both go away from something like a transfer station with just this sigh of relief, this overwhelming okay. Everything's okay now. I don't even know how to describe it. So there's definitely something psychological there. What it is exactly, I don't know, or maybe it was because I grew up in that environment. So I'm curious, Auntie Joan, and in the house you grew up in, was that more of an organized home or more of a cluttered home?
It was more organized.
Okay.
Now, as we didn't have a lot of crap.
Right.
I mean, the amount of toys I had and stuff was minimal. The amount of clothes I had was not a lot.
Right.
My mom didn't work for a long time. So she kept us with our stuff pretty much cleaned up.
And thinking back to my grandparents' house, specifically my mother's, actually both grandparents, their houses were always, I never saw them in disarray. Never.
I think it would have driven my dad nuts to come home every day and see, stuff all over the place. So maybe that was part of the inspiration to keep it at least clutter free. That's my memory. I don't know what my brothers remember, but
So I'm wondering if it does have something to do with how the house you grew up in and how you ultimately end up keeping your own house.
I think my own personal opinion is I think it's the way we're wired.
Okay.
Our brain is wired.
The only time I've in my circle of friends who adopted the same way of maintaining the home that they grew up in to their home now as adults are, and I'm always looking for patterns. I'm a big pattern person. Are only children. Two friends that are only children. Definitely, I know the households they grew up in were very neat and tidy, and they are almost obsessively compulsively neat freaks. But so I'm again, I find all these kinds of things interesting. I think if I had a do-over in my life, I think sociology would have been something I would have been very happy to get involved with. I didn't want to do it back then because I just didn't want to.
Yeah.
I do find it interesting how, and like I said, I'm looking for the patterns and seeing if there's a correlation of things.
Now, I will say when I get my broken down cardboard boxes off to recycle or do a good clean job, it makes me feel really good. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think, well, why don't I do this? Why can't I be like this all the time? But then before you know it, there's 5, 6 glasses sitting on the counter because I took a drink, but I hadn't emptied the dishwasher yet. And you know how it goes. No, you don't know how it goes.
No. I mean, like I said, I have to say probably the kitchen is, something that I definitely keep neat, but I also really don't have too much of a problem with keeping, if there's some dishes in the sink that, need to soak in quotes. They probably
Of
don't need to
course.
soak as long as I soak them, but
At least 2 or 3 days, don't you think?
Well, I don't know about that. That might be a little extreme for me, but even a couple of dishes on the counter, I'm okay with it. It doesn't last long. I can't leave it there or continue to contribute to it without starting to feel like, oh my God, this is going to become overwhelming if I don't deal with this. So then I do. But yeah, so I was just curious about that. I did find an article. It was on a page called, where did it go? Very Well Mind. And it was an article by Sherry Gordon. And it was updated last on April 3rd, 2023. It was also medically reviewed by Rachel Goldman, who's a PhD in FTOS, whatever that stands for. Maybe somebody knows out there. I don't know. It's called The Connection Between Decluttering, Cleaning, and Mental Health. And we kind of touched on a lot of it, though. I think, having more clutter may contribute to depression, decreased focus, which goes towards the ADD, confusion, tension, and organized tends to be supposedly healthier, have a sense of control of, and I am a control freak. So there is that. Not obsessively, I would like to believe, but I definitely prefer control to not in control. Bringing order into the environment, reduce anxiety, reduce stress. I don't know about that. And when I was working, I definitely felt more stress for sure about how the house looked versus the hours I was able to spend dealing with it. But now that I'm retired, a little bit easier to maintain, I have to say. And supposedly can reduce depressive symptoms while increasing your focus. So just the opposite of being cluttered. So yeah, I think, there is a correlation as to our mental health associated, and how we're feeling. And I know you mentioned, sorry, Aunt Jo, I didn't let you talk earlier when I said depression. Is that something that you suffer from?
Yeah. I first came to notice when I quit smoking. So I keep it under control. But one thing I noticed too, and was mentioned to me by a professional organizer, is you have to set things up differently for people with ADD than your average person. Like if you put stuff in a drawer, it's gone. You never see it again. You don't know what's in there.
Interesting.
So when you file stuff away, you've got to do it in such a way that it's easily accessible and it doesn't take you too long to find out where it is. Yeah, I don't do well with file cabinets or any of that stuff.
Interesting. And and seeing things out is, something that triggers me. It's like, I don't, that needs to go in its home. It's not
Well, you
put
can,
away.
yeah, but you can find a way. I mean, there's ways that you can file stuff away for someone with ADD that wouldn't look cluttered.
For example.
I'll have to look into that. But I have a rolling cart for file folders, and it's all out. I mean, it's out in the open and stuff, but you can shove it under a counter or whatever. Now, I haven't filed anything away in it yet, but I intend to.
And how long have you had this rolling file folder?
Oh, not very long.
What does that mean?
We won't go there right now.
No, I'm not
Yes,
judging. Again, it's curiosity because it's really sounds.
I've had it for a while.
It sounds like I'm talking to my mother, who would always buy things in the attempt to get more organized that either never came out of the boxes or made its way out of the box but never actually got utilized. So
Yep.
that's why I was asking. More again, my sociology curiosity side.
Not to mention the books on organization and getting away from clutter.
And the countless television shows I'm sure you've seen, and I totally get it.
Occasionally I would watch Hoarders. That to me was a feel-good show because I could feel like I'm not so bad.
Yes, I could. And I think, I don't think my mother ever watched that, or if she did, it was like, a couple of times or whatever. But that would have had the same effect on her because I wouldn't consider her, where she only had pathways, through rooms available. But the amount of clutter was pretty overwhelming for sure. For sure.
Well, clutter are tchotchkes and paperwork.
What are they?
Tchotchkes. No, I mean, was it clutter or was
both?
Yeah.
Both. She had lots of tchotchkes. Lots and lots and lots. But there was also lots of paper. There was, just, I think I told you, cleaning out their house after they passed, and the amount of aluminum trays that you cook like lasagnas and baked ziti and stuff, and that you would bring to like a potluck or whatever. Unbelievable amounts of those. And I'm just like, why so many?
Oh, because I might need them someday.
Forgot you already had them. Didn't know where they were when knowing that you do have them, but you didn't know where they were, so it was easier just to go buy more. All those things. I mean, I actually just used them the other day. I took some St. Patrick's Day paper napkins from her house, and I think it even said like O'Doul's or not O'Doul's, not the non-alcoholic drink. It was like, I don't know, some name of a bar, and I'm like, she never drank. Like, why would somebody who never drank alcohol buy something like this? I could see if it was just a Shamrock, but it had like a beer stein not a stein, but big beer mug, and like they were cheering, and what would make you buy that?
Maybe they were going to have a party.
Maybe. Yeah, because you're right, because God knows how long that had been sitting there that I found and, took it home with me. Yeah. But I'm like, at least I drink, so it makes a little bit more sense for this to be in my house.
Ooh, that sounds good
beer?
Now. Yeah.
Oh, well, next time we'll have to plan ahead and...
Yeah, I was thinking we should have had champagne or something today during our recording to celebrate our virgin voyage, the release of our first podcast.
Yes, our first episode hit the lines, and response has been pretty good so far. So thank you, listener, for hanging on in there with us, and we appreciate you all, and we look forward to many more episodes of our silliness and our unique take on all things. But cheers to you, Auntie Joan. Good release.
Yeah, finally got it done. Got her done. And like I've said, if it was up to me with my ADD, we'd still be talking about, we should go ahead and do that sometime.
And that's where my organized came in and said, nope, got to get her done. Got to get it out there.
And project management.
Yes, there's that.
Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome
Well,
back.
yes, by now, oh, by now, most of you have heard about Wendy Williams and all the brouhaha about where she's been, what she's doing.
Yes, let me just interject and say we're now on to our segment called What We Are Watching. And Auntie Joan is kicking us off with information about Wendy Williams. Go ahead, Auntie Joan.
Yes, by now, most of you have probably heard about all that she and her family have been going through since her TV show went off the air and was replaced by Sherry Shepherd. For those of you who don't know who Wendy Williams is, she started out as a DJ in New York or New Jersey, doing a lot of the hip hop songs. And then she went on to do her own TV show, which is where I started watching her. And once I retired, she became one of my daily guilty pleasures. I liked her because I felt she told things like it was. She told it from a normal perspective, as hard as that might be for people to believe. But they used to have a segment called Ask Wendy, where people in the audience would ask questions like, "Oh, I just found out that my boyfriend was sleeping with my best friend, and what should I do, Wendy?" And she always had really good down to earth advice for these people. So anyway, one day her show just kind of went away, and they had these guest hosts on. Well, come to find out, Lifetime has a two-part series on her and what she's been through the last couple of years. And as it turns out, that she's gone into a conservatorship that was started by Wells Fargo. They saw that her son had ordered some things for her birthday party or whatever they felt was inappropriate. Well, come to find out, it was about $100,000 he spent on her birthday. But I don't think that's out of the realm of reality when it comes to celebrities and people like that. But anyway, they felt that she needed to go into conservatorship. Well, just a little behind the scenes stuff. 2 million people are in some type of guardianship or conservatorship right now in this country. And judges, when they go into court to get this conservatorship, judges oftentimes overlook the family. They just discount them as possible conservators. The courts don't always do their due diligence when finding individuals to make them the conservator. New York News reports that 60% of courts don't review the credit history of guardians, and 40% don't run criminal background checks before appointing conservators. So those of us out here who are listening to Pickled Watermelon Rinds, who may be in a case where we might be looking into something like that, it's good to be wise and try to get all this stuff squared away beforehand. What's happened with Wendy is her family doesn't know where she is. They don't know where she's in some type of care facility, but they don't know where it is. They cannot call her.
What?
Nope, they cannot call her. They have to wait for her to call them. And of course, they have no say in anything that, any of her care or any financial aspects. So, one thing that I did hear, I mean, I can't quote any specifics, but once you get into a conservatorship, it's not that easy to get out of. So just a word to the wise. I know I worry about this my own self, so hopefully I won't have to worry about it. But
There
we'll
was
see.
a Netflix movie a few years back called I Care a Lot, and it was somebody who was defrauding the elderly by getting named their conservator.
Oh, I think I saw that.
And yeah, so I knew that you were going to talk about Wendy having dementia. and things like that. I did not know we were going to go down the conservative route. I didn't know that was her story. This is the first I'm hearing of that. So
Yeah, it was kind of
wow.
like Britney Spears and
Yeah.
all that happened. As far as the show, Where's Wendy Williams? That was the name of the Lifetime show. It was very, very hard to watch because of her dementia. You could tell she was going into it. Now, I will say, having had an experience of being with someone who was going through dementia, when you're with somebody every day, it doesn't hit you.
Mm-hmm.
You don't immediately recognize it. It takes a while for it to soak in what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we always try to make excuses. Oh, well, he forgot because whatever. That plus her alcoholism, I guess she was drinking a lot. And she was very, very difficult just to deal with. It was very hard to watch.
Oh, it's very sad.
Yeah.
I was
But
not a Wendy Williams watcher.
yeah.
But I did enjoy when she would show up on something that I was watching, like Late Night with Seth Meyers.
And yes, and John Oliver did a whole little segment on
Mm-hmm.
her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when she was broadcasting from her home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And my all-time favorite coffee mug is at Auntie Joan's house, and it's her Wendy Williams mug that she hides on me when I come down because she knows I like it so much.
There's two of them. They've got the lipstick mark on one side.
Mark, and they've got the little thumb rest that I like.
Yes.
I really like that.
Yeah, I bet those will be collector's items someday. Oh, I need to change my will and include those in the bequeath section.
There you go. That's very sad to hear. And I'm surprised that Wells Fargo, I'm surprised at how conservatorship works. Even after seeing that Netflix show, a few years back, it's scary. It's really quite scary that somebody can just get named your conservator and, if they're not on the up and up, can, take all of your stuff. But even if they are in the up and up, I mean, the fact that family has no say and, that they're just out of the process is just unbelievable. Like that is unbelievable.
And they have no idea where she is.
Now I'm curious to know, and I don't have the research on this, is, having everything spelled out in whether it's a will or a living trust, where you have power attorneys named and things like that. Does that negate a conservatorship from ever hitting?
Well, no, because
to
her son was named as power of attorney. He was named as her financial whatever sign off person, and Wells Fargo went in was able to negate that and take over. Now they didn't. I think they're the ones who assigned the conservator. But
interesting.
Yeah,
I'll have to do a little bit more research on that and see how we can be sure that we protect ourselves and share that with our listeners. Or I even said the S, not just our listener.
I caught that. But on an up note, have you watched anything entertaining?
Entertaining? I don't know about that. I'll tell you what, I got roped into that Expats on Amazon Prime with Nicole Kidman. It's a limited drama series with 10 episodes, which is completed now. Took place in Hong Kong, and they were expats. Positively nearly unwatchable. I mean, it was just... It was a very sad underlying story, but how they piecemealed it all together and tried to intertwine the lives of the main characters. There was, Nicole Kidman, the person who played her husband, Brian T., her best friend, who she was a bit estranged from, Siriu Blue, who played Hilary Starr, her husband, who... Jack Huston, I don't know if I'm saying that right. And then Ji Young Yu, who was played Mercy, who is a kind of I honestly don't understand what the point of this show was. It was just bad. I don't even know what to say. It was, the storylines just did not come together in the end. They spent almost an entire episode in episode 9, not 1, not 2, which may have made a little bit more sense, but episode 9. So we're nearly done with this limited series. What?
Well, there were 6 episodes.
Oh, there were? I thought there were 10. Yeah. Oh, I apologize. So episode 5, then it would have been second to last episode. They spent so much time with one of the characters that had such a peripheral play at this point, who just showed up at, a party or a get together, and they randomly talked to this person for like 2 minutes. And all of a sudden they did almost an entire episode about her and her husband, and it had nothing to do with anything.
That's true. Yep.
I don't understand. Auntie Joan, I know you saw it too. I could bash it all day. Go, it's your turn. What do you got to say about it?
Well, something that our listeners probably don't know is I don't care for Nicole Kidman. I find it difficult to watch her.
I don't, by the way. I actually, up until this particular show, have been not a super fan or anything like that, but I've enjoyed things that I've seen Nicole Kidman in.
Okay. So I had to think a couple times before I'd start watching it, and I did. And the story kind of roped me in, about the son and him disappearing, and then the young woman. I really got blown away at the apartment that young Mercy lived in. It was just, oh my gosh, it not just tiny, but tiles falling off the wall, and yeah, that was depressing. I kind of got into some of the side stories, but it was just it was hard to watch. It was
terrible. Her estranged best friend at the end is walking down the street with a rolled up carpet.
Yeah.
What the hell was that?
You know what got me was the beginning of that last episode when she's walking through the airport with those like 4-inch spike heels on.
Oh yeah.
And wheeling her luggage with her white pantsuit.
Yes.
And I thought about you. And I thought, oh, I wonder if Auntie dresses like that when she goes to the airport for her trips.
Not even close. Not even close. I mean, all I saw was, I'm like, she's going to fall. She's going to fall any second now. It's going to happen. Like, what? Nobody wears that. Come on. That's something you would wear onto a private jet, not onto a commercial airline.
Yeah.
Because, because at least in a private jet, you basically get out of your car and you get on the plane. So I still wouldn't do it personally. That wouldn't be my thing. But I could understand a little bit more because the walking is very, very short. But when you're in a ginormous airport, like Hong Kong airport, and you got to go from one end to the other, because she was flying out of the country. It was not intra-country. She was, I'm like, that distance was a really long distance for her to get to where she needed to be. And she's walking in those 4-inch freaking spike heels. Like I forgot about that. Thank you. That's, I mean, like I said, I could go on and on and on about how terrible this show was and unrealistic.
Very unrealistic as far as that goes. Yeah.
And, they didn't really sew it up in the end.
No, I think they left that purposely open for another season.
Well,
yeah.
It still sucked. Bad. So in my review of this show, I saw on IMDb that they gave it 3 stars. Auntie Joan and I are introducing a new rating system. We are going to rate the shows that we watch based on watermelon rinds. So I am giving this a half of a watermelon rind, and I think I'm being very generous.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe just a couple seeds you might want to put in there.
I like it. Can we do that? Let's do seeds.
Sure.
Let's do seeds. Yes, and I give it like 1 seed. That's bad. That's bad. Auntie Joan, what's your rating of it?
Well, I'll give it one. One rind.
One
One
rind?
watermelon rind, yeah.
All right.
I mean, because, yeah, I mean, some of it was kind of interesting.
Yes.
And how about that apartment that Nicole's character would go
Both
to?
of them, her and her bestie, they were ridiculous.
Well, her bestie had her own. I mean, the one that Nicole's character went to where she would sit in that tub.
One.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she would scrub the floor with, what was she scrubbing it? Was it?
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, when she first gets the one time when they first show you this apartment, she gets there and she scrubs the floor on all fours, her face all the way down to the floor, and she's scrubbing in between like maybe the grout of the tile on the floor. And then the next thing you see her is sitting in a tub that's too small for her. She's a tall woman. It's too small for her. It's purple, and then she leaves, and there's these two crossed mops on the other side of the thing that we find out later is just a business that gets mopped up, and that's where they leave the mops. Like you thought there was going to be some kind of significance to these mops because they made such a point of showing it. The cinematographer is definitely going for an award. The way he filmed. Now there was a couple of cool things that he did do, or she did. I don't know, male or female, but that they did. When you zoom into something like that, like the crossed mop handles, you think that that's going to be significant at some point in the story. It was not.
Maybe it was, and we just didn't catch it. We're not deep enough.
I don't think so.
Because the last time they showed the mops is they were separate, each standing up against the opposite wall. So you know what? Maybe this is something we need to do a deep dive on, because there's stuff out there where people know what all the symbolism is, and
I have zero interest in spending any more of my energy on this show. It is not good. I don't know what kind of rating it got on Amazon Prime. I didn't pay attention, but yeah, no, do not get suckered in. It is not a good show. I mean, if you have some curiosity about, the things that we're talking about associated with it, then knock your socks off. Or if you're a true Nicole Kidman fan, maybe you'd want to make sure you watch everything she's ever in. But otherwise, no. I thought she was much better in Big Little Lies, or that other show that we liked.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That Hulu show where she was the guru at that thing.
Yeah, I'll tell you, looking back at that now, I don't know. I don't think I could watch the whole. I mean, they had a good supporting cast.
They did, for sure, for sure. And honestly, that episode 5, Nicole Kidman was barely in it. They did all the peripheral characters, and like I said, and there was some sit-in that they were doing, and protests that were going on in Hong Kong, and it just was not good. Did I say it's not good? Yeah, it's not good.
Well, what did you really think about it, though?
Man, ugh.
I'm looking here. Nicole Kidman was in a movie a long time ago where she was on a sailboat.
Yep.
With her boyfriend. And I just remember her looking so young. Not so much the youngness, but she just looked healthy. She had little rosy cheeks, and seeing her these days, it's just really hard for me to watch her.
Yep. Well, she's not going to sucker me in again. Unless there's other characters or other actors in it that I truly enjoy and want to see, and she just happens to be in the movie as well, then she's got a better sporting chance. But something that she's the lead in, I don't think I'd watch it again. We always all thought that, it was Tom Cruise who liked to do the creepy stuff when those two are married. But based on the selections that she makes on movies that she likes to do, or accepts to do, I should say, I think it may have been her. Like Eyes Wide Shut, everybody just assumed it was Tom Cruise, but I think it was her.
Well, don't get me started on Tom Cruise.
Oh, don't worry. I'm not, I mean, you can. But yeah, I just think she had a lot to do with those kind of movies. But there's been others that I've really liked of hers too. So
Yeah, like what? Did you like Moulin Rouge?
No, I don't think I ever saw it. That didn't appeal to
Oh,
me. No.
oh,
She was in a movie with Alec Baldwin where she was pregnant but lost the baby after an accident or something. She ended up leaving her husband, and it turned out Alec Baldwin was her doctor. And I don't remember the name of the movie. And he said, "Act like God. I am God." That's what
yes,
Alec Baldwin said.
yes.
So that was a good movie. I liked that one.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
I don't remember the name of it, but I liked that. I liked that ghost one that she did, The Others. That one I do remember. I did
Oh,
like
The
that one.
Beguiled?
Nope, The Others.
Oh, that's okay, okay.
Yep, that was a really good movie of hers. You know, I love Practical Magic. I watch that every Halloween. So, but that's, Sandra Bullock and her. But I just like the story. And I like the aunts in it too. So that makes me smile. And it's Halloween related, so there you go. Yeah, so like I said, there's definitely some movies I do like of hers. This series was definitely not one of them.
Well, at least you're open. You're not close-minded like some people I know as far as her movies go.
Yes, indeed. All right, Auntie Joan, anything else on what we are watching? Any shout outs we need to do this week?
Shout out to Jon Stewart. He did it again. He did it again.
Okay.
The end of his show on Monday. I thought he was going into a comedy routine, and it turned out he was saying goodbye to his beloved dog.
Oh, right.
And,
you sent me that
oh
clip.
my gosh. Nobody does it like Jon Stewart anymore. I was in tears by the time that was over. And we all could use a Jon Stewart in our lives who would care that much about us,
Yes.
So, yeah, shout out to Jon.
Shout out to Jon Stewart. All right.
He's quickly becoming my guy. Welcome back again.
Welcome back, indeed. Now we're on to our last segment of the podcast, which is commercials we need to talk about. And for me this week, it is the Gillette Venus pubic hair and skin razor. Why? 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 I do not need to see some woman shaving around things. I cannot believe. I mean, it's not inappropriately graphic, but to me,
No,
it's
it's
still.
not.
But it's still too graphic, in my opinion.
Oh my gosh.
I am not a prude. I guess it's not. It's just gross. Like what people do with their bodily parts and how they want to maintain them or not. I don't care. I don't need to see it. And the fact that they put this on just any old channel at any old time of the day, where has our society gone? I just don't understand why this is necessary.
Ugh. You're too young to think like that.
It's gross. It's gross.
It doesn't even upset me like that.
Oh my God.
Now, you want to see gross. You go to YouTube and look up ingrown hair extractions.
No.
You'll see what shaving down there does to people. And it's not just shaving, but the waxing. What is wrong with this society? Here's where I am. What is wrong with this society that it cannot accept women as women? They're putting young women back to look like little girls. And that grosses me out.
There is that. Although I do have to say, I believe full Brazilians, which is hairless, is a little passé now. I don't think a lot of people are doing that anymore. Some may still be, but I don't think it's as novel an idea.
I don't know. Have you asked the Kardashians? They would probably have some input in that.
Now, I will say I do not watch the Kardashians. However, I don't know if it was a commercial for them or maybe it was just on. I don't know. Back when I had cable satellite TV. But Kim I remember her saying
Oh,
that because she's Armenian, she's very hairy. So she had laser hair removal pretty much her entire body. So arms, like the whole shebang. She's like, we are Armenian. We are a very hairy bunch. And she didn't say it like this, but something to that respect. And she's like, it would be out of control if I didn't do that. So whether that's true or not, I don't know. Or that was just her overthinking, her body. I don't know. We actually never got to see her hairy, so I don't.
gee, I wonder what all the other Armenian women do out there that can't afford to have
Right?
themselves laserly.
Oh, I hear you. Oh, and I
Yeah.
also remember Paris Hilton once saying,
Oh,
every woman should get their eyebrows shapened professionally. And it's like, not everybody can afford that, little Miss Paris Hilton, and you're, come on. So,
Yeah.
yes, they do have definitely a skewed view of what's accessible to people and what's really important, because that ain't it.
But if you watch, really, you should at least watch one or two of those in-ground hair extraction things just to see what can happen to you with. I mean, you get the bumps, you get, clogged pores. It can get really nasty.
Sounds nasty. Sounds
It
sounds as
is,
nasty
yeah.
as the commercial.
I can't
for the
stop
Gillette
watching
Venus.
it.
Oof. God, you're too funny. Auntie Joan likes to watch surgeries and things like
Oh,
that.
I love them. Love
Not
them.
me. No thanks. I have to look away when they draw my blood.
Oh, I do too.
Can't
I
do
do
it.
too. But the only surgery I regret watching was when I watched what they did to take out a cyst in somebody's jaw. And
Yeah.
it was one of those, it was not an American surgeon. And I mean, he ended up sticking his finger down in that jaw, and it was, yeah. And I thought, oh my gosh, am I going to have all that done to me? But I guess not. But that was the one I regretted. Yeah. Yeah.
Yikes.
Mm-hmm.
And Auntie Joan.
Ain't life grand.
Ain't life grand. Auntie Joan, any commercial you wanted to bring up today?
I just wanted to talk about the Mayhem guy from Allstate. I love him.
I love him too.
Oh, good. See, we do have some similarities more than yeah. His name is Dean Winters.
Okay.
He was in John Wick, the movie John Wick.
Yes, he was also a reoccurring, but not, often, character on Sex and the City.
Yes, and Oz, the series Oz, he was a recurring character. He was recurring on 30 Rock.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. He called her Dum Dum or Dummy. No, he called her Dummy. That was his pet name for his girlfriend, Liz, was Dummy. Yes. I believe he also was on, nope, I think I got that wrong. I think I was thinking of Friends, but when you said 30 Rock, that's what he was on. Yeah.
And I noticed him just a couple weeks ago watching Monsieur Spade on Acorn TV.
Oh.
It's a retell of Sam Spade, played by Clive Owen.
Oh.
So Dean Winters shows up as a bishop or priest or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I saw he looked a little different. And I thought, is that him? Yep, it was him.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So I just love the way he brings mayhem into people's lives.
He does.
And loves it. And he loves doing it.
He loves it. And he loves it. Yes, those commercials, I've always enjoyed those. So.
And he's a cutie too.
He is.
Yeah.
He's a good actor. I like him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like him. All right, Auntie Joan. Anything else for our listener for today?
Boy, oh boy, we kind of did quite a bit of talking, didn't we?
We sure did.
I think I'm done. How about you?
Yes, I think this wraps it up for us today on Pickled Watermelon Rinds. I am Auntie.
And I'm Auntie Joan.
And we are signing off until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
We thank you for listening. And remember, when life eats away at your core, make pickled watermelon rinds.